Hey guys, it's Matt Allen and Tyler Powell with Powernailer for May's Product Awareness Month focus here. This month is May, and we are actually going to be focusing on our cordless cleat nailers. Cordless, you ask? Yes, we have cordless cleat nailers. I'm going to let Tyler explain the first original cordless nailers right now.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Matt. Yes, we're talking about cordless tools, no cords, no hoses, fully manual tools, both single strike and ratcheting. First up on our plate here today, we'll look at our model 45 and 45R for ratcheting model. These are the original power nailers. These tools were designed to drive our 16 gauge L-shaped power cleats, and they were made prior to the invention, and well, I'm sure they were invented, just not very common out there. Compressed air was not accessible for contractors at the time. So these were all manual tools that converted the kinetic energy of a mallet swinging down on this plunger here on the back side of the tool, helping to drive that 16 gauge cleat into the tongue of a 3/4 inch floor board. So with the Model 45, we do have two versions available. The first version is a single strike. So this cleat nail inside of the tool will have to be driven with one single swing. And then there was an improvement made, and that improvement was a ratcheting mechanism in the head of the tool that allows the user to drive that cleat nail with a couple different blows rather than just one. And you'll see that here. We've got a great video put together with one of our friends at a distributor. He'll show us how to properly use that tool. These are still very relevant today, still in circulation. And whenever we ship these out from Powernailer, they're shipping with a 4-pound rubber mallet instead of the 2.5 rubber mallet that comes with all of our pneumatic tools. Reason being, it's an all manual tool. It's just sheer elbow grease. It's going to help drive that nail through that wood. So a little extra weight coming down on that plunger head seems to make that process a great deal easier. And the last piece I want to mention here about that 45 is that it is designed to drive that cleat nail at a 45-degree angle every time that it's used. So the tool itself references off of the top of a flooring component. And because of that, the way that it's designed, it shoots that nail down at that 45. And you'll see why that's being called out here a little later on in the presentation. Matt, do you have anything you'd like to add there?
I don't. You nailed it pretty good. Thanks.
Okay, good to go. Hey, nailed it. All right. So let's jump over to that video we talked about. Here we have Powernailer's Model 45R. This is an all-manual 16-gauge ratcheting cleat nailer for 3/4 inch hardwood. So we're looking now at that ratcheting model we talked about. And you'll see we have Josh operating that tool. And you'll see as we start moving down, he's able to hit that plunger more than once to drive one cleat nail. And that was a huge improvement upon the design of that original 45. So this is the 45R. You see he's working down, a couple different swats to the tool, and he helps to drive that nail into the floorboards.
Yeah, and if you noticed on that video too, the knob pops right up once it's set. So that's the really cool part with the 45 ratchet model is, you know, when that nail is set, because that tool will pop up and you can move down versus, you know, the original 45 where you would hit it, that thing would pop back up and you wouldn't know if it was sunk or not. And then you pull your tool off and then you have a, you know, 1/4 inch piece of the cleat sticking out. So the ratchet model is really handy because, again, as Tyler said, multiple hits to drive that nail down, but having that bumper pop back up, knowing that it's sunk and set in there, I think is a very valuable feature to that tool.
Absolutely. And I just paused it here at a point where you had seen Josh had already hit it once, but the plunger is stuck down. So it just needs a little more force to completely seat that nail. So he's coming down here in his second strike. There we go. He'll do it again.
Yeah.
He just keeps working down the board.
So the nice part with that ratchet model too is you don't have to swing that 4-pound mallet all the time either. You can go If you guys remember February with our mallet awareness month, I mean, we've got, 11 or so mallets to choose from, anywhere from a 2-pound aluminum mallet, up to that 5-pound one. But if you wanted to swing that light mallet to reduce your fatigue that you're going to have on an installation, by all means, you have those options with this ratchet tool.
Definitely, definitely. All right. Okay, Matt, you want to dive into the 101 and 101R for us?
Yeah, so now what we have is our model 101 and 101R, which is for ratcheting. So very similar to the 45 and the 45R. You've got two options, and this is our manual 16 gauge cleat nailer that you can use for blind nailing and for top nailing as you get closer to the end of the wall. So yeah, so the really nice part is when you need to blind nail, now you have this tool that's going to get a little bit closer to the wall versus the 45 tool will. And it's going to allow you to go ahead and top nail along that wall as you're finishing up your row. So really it helps you use the same cleat that you're using with the 45, and it allows you to now not have to bounce around from a bunch of different tools, grabbing your brad nailer, the power palm, you name it, or whatever. You've got now two single tools that you can use to finish up a job with the 45 and the 101. So again, the 101, the single strike version that we have. Then we also have the 101R, which is that ratchet multi-strike option that we have. They both drive the 16 gauge cleat that we have in it from 2 inch, 1 3/4, 1.5 inch. And these also come with the 4-pound rubber cap mallet that you can that you use on it. But again, with that ratchet option, you could again deviate from what weight of mallet you want to use. So, and when you get closer to the wall, this one does allow you to get up to 5 inches to the wall when you're blind nailing. And then if you're going to use a surface nailing option, you can get up to 1 inch to the wall. So now being able to get that close to the wall with that 1 inch top nail, your base in shoe will help cover any of those top nail holes that you might have. But on the sand and finish market that you're going to typically see these manuals being used on, obviously those aren't going to be a factor when you do the fill and finish and all that. So if only we had a video showing how we could use this as a blind nail option.
Wow. Funny you should say that, Matt, because it just so happens that this next slide is not, but look at that.
Wow.
Right
there. Who'd thunk it?
Okay, so here we've got some joker trying to show how to properly use this tool. This is the model 101.
Hey there, guys. Powernailer here. I want to show you one of the big differences between our traditional model 45 and then our 101. 101 here is going to allow you to blind nail, but opposed to the 45 that sits on top of the floor and gives you that automatic 45-degree angle, you as the operator now have to decide what is that right angle.
So I'm just going to pause that there so we can kind of unzip what I just said. The Model 45 references, so it sits on top of the floor that you're installing. Now, here I'm using a pre-finished oak product. Really, with these manual tools, there's a lot of force coming down. Your chances for potentially damaging the pre-finished product are somewhat high. So I would stay away from using these types of manuals on pre-finished if you can, but it's just for demonstration purposes. But that 45 sits on top of the flooring boards. The 101, it's got a much smaller form factor, and you have to find that angle yourself, meaning I am holding this tool at a 45-degree angle, but I don't really have anything underneath of it that's telling me that I've achieved that 45. So using this tool, there's a lot of muscle memory involved, but you can work extremely fast because it is so light and it is so small. Anything you'd like to add in there, Matt?
No, but yeah, I should say yeah. No. As you get closer to the wall, though, your angle is going to change because the closer you get, you're going to angle that up to lose that 45-degree angle. But the good news is you're still able to get those boards tight as you get closer to the wall with the power jack that was March's focus. But the angle as you get closer to the wall doesn't seem to become very crucial, I guess, in your installation. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add is it's okay to not go exactly 45 degrees as you're going, as long as you've got room to get that other board tight in there.
Good point. Really good point. Okay, and we'll just follow through here. I found the angle coming down with the 4-pound mallet, and that is the single strike version. So you do have to drive that cleat with one blow, but the ratchet is available as well. It would be the same situation. You know, you could use 2, 3, 4 strikes to sink that nail all the way in.
Did you use the single strike just to show off?
Well, you know, gotta flex a little bit, Matt.
Right. Sorry.
All right, let's head into the next slide. We're just going to take a few moments to discuss a couple of the points that Matt had made about top nailing and blind nailing. So really, what's the difference between top nailing and blind nailing? Top nailed floors predate blind nailed floors. It's a much older installation method. You are driving a fastener down from the very top of the board or the face of the board into the subfloor or the joists below. Now, with the 101, which is that combo tool, it can blind nail, it can top nail. In instances where you are top nailing, it does countersink those cleat nails almost up to 1/8 of an inch. So that leaves you plenty of space for filler to go back in and fill in the hole that's left by that nail. Now, whether that's up against the wall after you blind nailed across the floor or across the entire floor, it's still going to give you that 1/8 of an inch of a countersink there. And then blind nailed floors, those are where you've got a tongue and a groove, and you're driving the cleat nail at that 45-degree angle through the tongue, and you're joining the next board to it. Tongue to groove or groove in tongue. Tongue in groove. Let me get that straight. Anything you'd like to add there, Matt?
Nope, you nailed it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and Maddie, I'm just going to let you break down then. Really, what are the primary differences between those tools, and then what do they share?
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is pretty basic, so I'm not going to dissect it that much. But the 45R and the 45 are essentially tools that are going to set up at a 45-degree angle to really give you the most instrumental angle to nail down the tongue and groove floor in that blind nailing process. So it is 18 inches tall. It allows you to stand taller and relieve your back stress. And the tools set the nail at a 45-degree angle, as I said, and they sit on top of the product. Very similar to the 445 pneumatic, just in a manual or cordless version. The 101 and 101R, you can do both. You can actually do a 45-degree angle, and then you can also do a surface nailing as well. It's 8 inches tall, which allows you to get very close to the wall, closer than you can with the 45. And then, as I said before, you need to angle at the degree you need it when you're doing the blind nailing, but again, very light and compact when you're using it. So the similarities between the two is they are both cordless. They both drive the 16-gauge L cleat that we have, and they are both made in the USA in our facility in Lake Zurich. And I will say these tools, the 45 and the 101R, essentially is what launched Powernailer into this flooring industry. And I personally feel that these two tools, specifically the 45, really changed the trajectory of flooring installation or hardwood installation to what we know it is now. It obviously gave everybody the idea of a pneumatic version of it, and then as we've really moved into the 18-gauge angled nailer, 20-gauge angled nailer, now with trigger pull versions that we have for engineered. I mean, it is, as we say jokingly, the OG of the installation world, man. This I think really set it up to where we got to where we're at today.
Absolutely, and to the point that you just made, this was kind of the template that everybody, every other manufacturer worked off of, whether they've got a pneumatic tool or an electric tool, and that's that last slide that we were on. Our Powernailer's 16-gauge manual tool still relevant, and I think that's what's fun to look at, is that now we see some different battery operated, much smaller tools out there. They're driving an 18-gauge staple. But we had that cordless tool driving a 16 gauge fastener doing those 3/4 inch products 70 years ago. So I think 100% these are still relevant, and they're still very, very accessible, or more so they make thicker floors more accessible. So then just to kind of, I guess, summarize everything we just said, they're just the advantages then. Looking at these tools, 101, 45, do they still have a place? They do. And why is that? That's due to their convenience. There's no compressor needed to put a floor in with one of these tools. If you're working in a rural area, if you are possibly not the day in, day out professional wood flooring installer and you haven't invested in that compressor, but you want to make some money on that floor, absolutely. There you go. These tools are going to be cheaper than pneumatic tools, so that's an advantage. But you also won't have to pick up that compressor, the hoses, the adapters, and deal with all of that in the installation. We actually looked at it, and these tools are almost a safer alternative. We've all been on the job site before where, you always hear somebody shout out, cord management. It's a trip hazard. You've got air hoses, you've got electrical cords going all around. Well, with these tools, you're not going to deal with that. You're not going to deal with the high decibels on the site from an air compressor recharging itself, as well as the actuation whenever you hit it with a mallet. And also, this is going to prevent misfires because it takes a pretty good amount of force to drive that cleat nail out of that tool into the product. And it's only being done whenever you're swinging that mallet. Maddie, I'll let you go over these other points here.
Okay, yeah, so as we said on the other sides, it is a lot more compact than the pneumatic tools that are out there. And again, not having to lug around cords and compressors, it does allow you to get into tighter spaces like a closet, hallways, stuff like that, to really allow you to finish the installation, especially with that ratchet option where you might not be able to get a full swing, so you're able to tap that cleat in there with that ratchet option. So very convenient to be able to get into those spaces like that. It is reliable, easier for repairs. It's fewer moving parts, so your maintenance on it is almost none outside of the driving blade and a spring. So there's no seals you got to repair. There's no leaks that are going to happen. Don't have to worry about oil in the tool. You don't have to worry about draining the compressor. With the job sites now where you've got a bunch of people working in the same house at the same time, maybe you don't need, to not have to lug in and share an electrical box for your power for your compressor. You can get in and out with the manual and get out of there faster than the other guys. So, and I think probably more important, man, time tested, for 70 years or close to 70 years, if not over 70 years, this tool has been in the industry and has performed over the years, and it's still around. So I think if you look at any capacity of anything, tools that have been used for, from the 50s to now, I think this is one of the few that's still been doing that, versus other aspects of any kind of construction or anything, outside of the shovel and the rake. This is one that is still kind of holding true and holding its own, being so long, being forever, into the flooring installation side. So very time tested. But again, I think probably the reliability as far as maintenance, repairs, and convenience is something to really think about.
But the number one advantage, probably the greatest feature of these tools.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that nice?
That is shiny.
So this month, and this month only, whenever our dealers bring in these tools, they're going to receive a hat to then hand out with each one of these tools that are then sold. Great Powernailer hat. It's kind of like a mesh back trucker hat, almost like what I'm wearing right here. It's got a snapback, nice mesh front, going to keep cool in the summer and hide your hat hair if you're dealing with something like what I am right now.
Or protect you from the sun. You got what I've got. So it's a hat for everybody.
Why not? It's almost as versatile as that tool.
Almost.
Right. So
We appreciate the time, guys. If you have any questions, you can easily find us here on our website. You can reach out to your local or your nearest Powernailer distributor to get any information on these specials and promos and tools. We would really, really enjoy talking to you guys if you guys have anything to add or ask or anything like that. And I would hope to say, coming up soon, maybe, just maybe, we might have some outtake reels of a certain someone trying to you know, one hit the 101s and 45s maybe, but we'll see if we get around to that or not.
I'm gonna need you to send me that footage, Matt.
Oh,
absolutely. Thank you all for your time jumping on here with us. We really do appreciate it. Throughout this entire month, Matt and I will be coming out with some fun content, some educational, informational content through Facebook. Find us on YouTube, Instagram. We'll probably have a couple fun little competitions going on, especially with that 101 being used as a top nailer because this is the guy that's going to have those outtake reels. I have no idea how some guys can do that day in and day out. What you're some type of a beast whenever you do. So
I get better than to try.
that's right. All right. Thank you again for your time. If you all have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.